Hi, welcome to That's a Thing Accent Core, episode 0.63. It is Monday, March the 9th, and I'm Drew.
I'm Kevin, also known as Raylith. Yeah, Mondays. It's Garfield. There's just been so much stuff I haven't been able to watch it and ingest it. I think there's too many things. I know we often complain about that here on the That's a Thing podcast, but the new Castlevania came out, and I haven't watched it. I want to.
Did it?
Yeah, it came out, I think, Thursday. It's been out.
I didn't even realize.
Oh yeah, no, it's out, and I know it's going to be good, and I haven't watched it yet because there's been other things I've been interested in, but I want to. There's so much stuff coming out that I can't consume at all. I'll probably try to make time for it. With that, by the time this podcast comes out, I will have not watched. I will not have watched it. I'll be real.
I can agree with that too. There's just so much, for me, it's school stuff where I think I have hit the point in the semester.
Oh, where it's kicked in?
Had I not been frivolous, had I not been the grasshopper earlier in the semester, I would not have to be such an during the.
Yeah, that's how every single thing when I've done when in my school career has been, where the first half there's almost nothing, and then in the second half of the semester there's everything. And it's usually because teachers pull this mistake that I don't like, where on week 2 or 3 we're going to assign you this big old project, and this big old project is due week 10. So by the time you get to around week 8, you go, oh crap, that project's coming up and I haven't done anything on it.
Yeah, I will say the actual nice thing about this semester is one of the gigantic projects. We don't have actual due dates on pieces of it, but if you submit a piece of it on certain dates, she'll go ahead and provide feedback, non-graded, so that way when the final due date rolls around, you can hopefully already have a 100 lined up.
See, that's interesting. I also like the idea if you would do that where you have this big old project, but if you turn it in on specific, there's due dates for extra credit. So it's one of those things like, all right, your outline is due on the 3rd. The whole thing is due on the end of the month. But, if you turn in your outline on the 3rd, I'll look at it and then help you. Yeah, so what she just said. I had a long road to get where you started. We had a there and back again moment.
And I will say, the older I get, the less I like extra credit. I already barely did it unless it happened to be a question on a test. But extra credit assignments and such nonsense as that is just not worth the effort.
I always feel that extra credit ideally is a tool used for when someone is not there. What am I trying to say? So they're not. Let's just say it's in math, and someone's just not very good at math. Maybe them hitting a C in math is the peak of their math ability. So the extra credit is effectively saying, listen, I know you're going to get a C on that test, but because you're putting in the effort, I can give you an A. So it won't ruin your GPA because that's how our system is. That's always how I felt extra credit should be. I'm
not going to give them an A, but you like bump them up to a C plus or a B.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm trying to get at. Like a B, like your work, your understanding is. I can tell you're working hard. It's going to be C, but because I know how hard that's working, I'll give you this extra little assignment so I can say I can give you that B because I know the work it's taken to get the C. But I don't like extra credit just in terms of trying to get above 100 or just I don't like working. I hate working.
In high school economics, the end of the semester, our teacher gave like everyone the option to break into groups to do an extra credit assignment.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what it was. He said something if your like GPA is already like over 100, there's already credit on the test too. Basically it's nothing. So me and the guy I'm partnered with agreed, well, we're not doing this assignment, right?
Yeah.
There's no reason for us to do this assignment,
yeah,
right?
that's awesome.
So we just didn't do it, and it's near the end of the semester and into the school year. So I don't know how he knew about it, but there was a day where there was a sub in a biology class, and those kids had brought a GameCube in. So we just asked if we could like go do something. I can't remember what. So we just left the class, went there, and played Smash Brothers, and then came back in class for time for dismissal.
Yeah, see, and those are the moments. That's when high school is good, and it usually. I don't think most people never figure it out, and people like me, I didn't figure it out till it was like my junior, senior year, where when you're smart enough to get all of your, not even smart enough, I would say good at school enough, because there's people that are smart that are not good at school. I would say when your skill at school is enough where you've technically finished high school and now you get to just have, you're still stuck there, but you can just kind of do whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, ridiculous.
It's awful, but I think it's kind of cool. What
I liked about orchestra.
Yeah, it's what I liked. It's what I liked about drama, where I had this class that was 2 hours of a day where I could just do whatever, and it didn't matter. And I was like, yeah, free time. My GPA.
Yeah, and it's a free buffer. It's a free A.
Oh yeah, it makes your GPA look good, and you don't have to do anything.
Give you some extracurriculars to put on there.
Yeah,
so let me tell all you youths who shouldn't be listening out there. Let me tell you the trick to picking a musical instrument.
Oh, this is good. Go for it.
Pick the viola. In our orchestra, there were 50 regular students, and then when you added the 8, 9, it easily grew to 7. Something absurd. Do you know how many violas total there were out of those 70?
Probably like 3.
6.
Yeah.
You could not hear us. It did not matter. There were more cellos than violas. And if you're curious, a viola is just a slightly larger, slightly deeper violin.
Yeah, it's the tenor saxophone. There's the alto sax and the tenor sax. Alto is what Lisa Simpson plays.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because the viola is also like the only instrument that uses the clef for its music.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a little weird. But the other reason the viola is so great, besides the small size of your crew, is there's so many violins in an orchestra every time that there are 2 factions of violin. First violins and the second. The advanced violins and the
trash. That's where I was. I was the chaff when I was playing trumpet. I was the chaff.
And let me no disrespect. I was always last chair until we stopped testing for and competing for chairs and just got assigned them based on what grade you were in.
Oh, dude, I was last chair every year. Every year. Band was the biggest mistake I ever made, and in going to school, and that was only because my friends wanted to do band in like elementary, middle school, so I did it, and it was a big mistake.
But yeah, so because there's so many top of the bell curve violin, guess who gets the lion's share of attention from the teacher to practice during class?
Oh, you?
No, the second chair violins.
Oh.
The second violins do.
Yes, you just...
Sometimes the viola part would overlap with the second violin part as like the rhythm guitar.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I took a nap almost every day in order.
I think my days when I was in band was just trying to be as inconspicuous as possible so that I would never get called on, because I couldn't play any of the instruments. I would just kind of like pretend.
I could play, just not well and not the really fast, hard bits.
Honestly, if I could redo picking an instrument, I think I would pick flute, because for one, flute has no gross thing. Like, there's no reed that's gross and you have to deal with, and it's just the flute. And there's no thing like with brass instruments, you have to blow on the instrument harder and in certain ways to get to higher pitches, whereas a flute, it's just what your hands are doing. So that was always hard for me. I couldn't get the high notes in trumpet because I couldn't blow the trumpet the right way. But I feel like if I was playing a flute, it'd be easy. And even more top tier technology, if you're playing band, you're gonna have to do marching band, and a flute's really small.
That's a lot lighter.
The flute is the smallest. You're just out there with like a flute or a piccolo, and you're just like, yeah, I can do this marching, it's easy. And the guy out there with the big old sousaphone is like, oh, this is terrible. I hate it. And so
you're also gonna be in the group with a lot more ladies than the other instruments.
Dude, yeah, you're gonna be there. That guy, that's all you got. You up there. And if you can play it right, you're golden. You just hang out. You're in the flute squad. So that's what I'm saying. I'm telling children that shouldn't be watching this, pick flute. I think it'll do you right.
Or viola. Depends on what instrument you want to go.
Yeah, if you want to go for the orchestra or the band. I think. Ugh, not a burp. I think thinking about band. So I think the top tier is flute. I think second tier is actually drums, but not the ones you wear. The one.
Oh no, it's percussion. You do xylophone and that stuff.
Yeah, I think that's second tier. I think that.
I disagree with that one just because all of those guys are douchebags.
That is true. The drums are bad. You're right. I think brass instruments. I think I might give brass instruments either tier 2 or tier 3. I'm torn between the woodwinds or the brass, because the woodwinds have the gross reeds, and I think those are really gross. Like the wooden reeds. And I think those are nasty. But I will admit that the thing about those is that you don't have to deal with the air pressure to get to high notes. So it's just raw finger memorization, which I think is difficult. It's still difficult. I think it's I think it's more at least for me. I feel like if it was just memorizing a combo, I could do it instead of memorizing the thing.
It's also, I have a question when it comes to band.
Yeah.
I've been, ever since Cody mentioned this, and I don't know if it's real or not, but my brain has been trying to conceptualize how it would even work.
All right, let me hear it.
Where you are holding your breath, but at the same time inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your mouth?
I'm trying to think about that. Yeah, I can't do that.
I can't either, and so I don't know if there's some part of it I misunderstood that Cody told me, or if it's just, someone was bullshitting him. But ever since, so this has been 10 years, my brain will be like, okay, so you hold your breath, so my lungs are full, but at the same time, air is circulating. And no, that's impossible.
I think that's just a sound of one hand clapping where people are saying you just got to have good lung capacity, or just how you release the air in your lungs and to what extent. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't make sense to me. That sounds like some kind of Zen musical instrument bull crap thing where they're saying it's like, you gotta like release the air and you gotta feel the air circulating in your, so you can just push it that little bit extra. And it's just like, what? I don't know. Man.
See, this way you can hold your breath while at the same time still play
your instrument. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Go flute. Go flute. Do it.
Or, you know what? I never had to hold my breath when I played viola.
Exactly. Go orchestra. I always felt orchestra was the real deal. If you wanted to be a slacker musician, you went orchestra. Because
it's the best.
Because that's the way to go.
There is no middle ground in orchestra between students who are practicing every day and want to get good, and those who are in it because they like the other people who are in it.
Yeah. That gets weird.
There is absolutely zero middle ground. You're either actually doing all the practicing plus what you're required to do, or you're doing none of the practicing and putting the numbers on the thing anyway.
Yeah, that is true. Man, I was so bad. I was just so bad in band.
It was also what I also liked about my orchestra was we have the same teacher from 6th grade all the way to 12th.
Oh.
So by the time you've hit 12th grade, she just starts being real with you. Like, I remember someone mentioning, well, how come we don't have to do the practice cards anymore? And she just looked at us and said, how many of you were honestly doing them?
Yeah, I love it. I always love, I think it's the most effective teaching technique of all time is when the teacher just cuts the bullshit. It's just like, listen, this is garbage, but you have to do. Nothing is more humanizing and loyalty bringing as when the person in authority just says, this is stupid bullshit. You don't have to do it. And you're like, oh, the most real thing that's happened. I'm cool with this.
Yeah. There we go. I made broccoli salad.
That's pretty good. I don't like broccoli. I never have liked broccoli. It's one of those tastes.
It's situational. Like tomatoes too, it's a situational.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Tomatoes, I like tomatoes in things. I think broccoli's kind of the same way. Or if I can tell it's broccoli, my instinctual 5-year-old says no. But if you make some kind of broccoli casserole where I can't actually detect the actual look of it, and it's just kind of the taste, then I'm okay with it.
It's also like most vegetables where it raw tastes better than cooked. Just putting broccoli florets in a salad, I'm fine with. Broccoli that's been like steamed.
Oh, I hate the steamed broccoli with cheese on it. That's always been nasty to me. It's been gross.
Go. So I watched the Utena movie tonight.
Oh yeah, how is it?
I cannot imagine going into that movie and you haven't
seen the show.
Yeah. It'll still be coherent enough, and you can understand what's going on. But whereas you will say Utena should not be someone's first anime because they need to understand some of the anime tropes Utena's playing on.
Yes, I do agree with that.
So Utena the movie, you kind of need to have seen Utena so you can know some of the Utena tropes that it's playing on.
I do know that at some point people turn into the car. Or someone...
Okay, so only 2 people turn into.
Okay.
But yeah. And I was just doing some reading about the movie after I watched it. And apparently there were a lot of mecha specialist animators who were hired to work on that movie.
That makes sense.
And they were all very confused when they were initially hired why they were going to be working on the Utena movie.
Exactly. Well, because it's you would not expect if you're watching the Utena movie raw, and I only know because some people turn into a car because that's been talked about. But if you've seen Utena, the whole idea of someone turning into the car is nuts. That's beyond nuts. But if you just see it raw, you're not going to get why that's so nuts. That a person turns into the car. They can hear it driving. That's incredible.
And watching it, I was also at the start very down on it. Just being like, oh, well, this is okay, but it's better. But as it progresses and goes, you're like, hell yeah! This is so wildly different, but still nailing the ideas. It's crazy.
In that
Toga?
Yeah.
Toga is something else in that movie.
Oh, I need to... I like Toga. I like Toga a lot. Yo, how's best girl Nanami in the movie?
She is in it.
Good. I like Nanami.
There also, what was I gonna? I naturally got hyped when the Silhouette Girls showed up.
Yeah. Love the Silhouette Girls.
They have a very obvious role in the film that makes a lot of sense for what they should be doing.
Good. Man, Utena is so good. That show's so good.
Oh, my only problem with the movie.
Yeah.
Most critical flaw.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how many times Anthy gets slapped?
Once.
None.
Oh, they messed up.
He gets violently jerked once, but she does not ever get slapped.
Anthy has to be slapped at least once. Like a one good one would be fine. Just one, just like full hand, like I want like a backhand kablow, and then that would be fine.
But no slappages. There's no slappage.
That's a mistake. That's an unforced error. If you watch Utena, you need to know that you clap when Anthy gets slapped. Okay, Drew, did I talk about my favorite D&D monster? Because I've been going on a binge of watching Dungeons & Dragons monster lore, and I've discovered my favorite Dungeons & Dragons monster. Did I talk about that on the podcast?
No, you haven't.
Okay. So, at this point in time, as of recording, my favorite Dungeons & Dragons monster is the Night Hag. Drew, what do you know about the Night Hag?
I know a little bit about just general hags in D&D.
Yeah, okay, so just...
I also don't...
Yeah, what's your hag knowledge?
Almost nothing.
Okay, so I will paint a picture, because I've been thinking about this a lot, just talking on the podcast about the Night Hag. So for you viewers, let me take you on a journey. So hags in general, there are 3 types of them. A hag is effectively your stereotypical Wicked Witch of the Forest. There's the sea hag, the green hag, and the night hag. The sea hag lives in the ocean, really ugly, and hates people that are ugly. The green hag is your stereotypical wicked... What?
The sea hag is ugly and hates people that are ugly?
Oh, I'm mistaken. She hates beauty. Anything that's beautiful, she hates. So she attacks. I made a mistake.
I really liked that she hated ugly things.
That would be better. That would bump up the sea hag to the second tier hag. She's tier 3. Because tier 2, the green hag, is your stereotypical witch. She can only do kind of potions, but she really likes to fuck with people. Because she goes into, like, villages and makes them all paranoid and stuff. But whatever. Who cares? It's all about the night hag. The night hag has some magical abilities and is effectively a night terror made real, where the night hag will go to people while they're, like, sleeping and give them sleep paralysis and kind of, like, freak them out and whisper things to them and give them curses where they hear things, because the night hag's purest goal is that they want to corrupt good people into evil people. And that's it. At least that's what it appears. Because the night hags are a true and even more evil than they originally think. Because the reason why the night hags really want to turn people from good to evil is because when an evil person dies, their soul goes to one of 3 specific planes. You either go to, if you're lawful evil, you go to, and I'm probably butchering this, but who cares? You go to the plane with all the devils. If you're chaotic evil, you go to the plane with all the demons. And you get turned into kind of like a grub. So when a soul dies, it turns into like a little grub monster. But if you're neutral evil, you go to a plane called the Grey Lands. And that's where the hags live. Because the night hag actually takes souls and sells them in their own capitalistic extra-dimensional market. So what they're doing is they are running a soul economy for the underworld. So witches and monsters, they come to the hag soul market to buy shit. And it's like, and you're like, what the hell? So, and they're selling, because neutral evil souls are really good for turning either into devils or demons. Because, like, a lawful evil soul, if it's more lawful, it doesn't like to turn into a devil, because it's so lawful. Changing shape is not really good in its nature. Whereas a chaotic evil soul, it doesn't like to stay in one form, so it makes a bad demon. But the neutral evil ones, that's where you get your good demons. And the only way you're going to get those neutral evil souls is you got to pay your money to the hags. So they are soul dealers, half arms dealers. Apparently, liches come down to their soul market to buy souls, and hags like to rip them off because liches don't know what a good soul is. They're like, oh, look at this idiot. We'll give him, like, the fart guy soul. He's like, oh, man, this is real good. It's nuts. And that's why they're my favorite.
That's fantastic.
Exactly, and that's why I'm like, yo, because apparently, whenever you see a hag in the mortal realm, that's like the artisanal hag who's trying to get the really good, the good quality souls. Because normally, there are enough evil people die that, yeah, they have a soul supply. They have their stock, but the good stuff, that's where you need a specialist who's trying to get it.
That's the Guy Fieri hag.
Yeah, that's the diners, drive-ins, where they're like, we're going down to Grogor Village. What we got here is an elf noble warrior. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into their dreams and villages and utter whisperances of jealousy and lust, hopefully pushing them more towards a satisfaction of their own personal deeds using their power and getting them into a situation where they will die so I can sell this good elf soul for like $50. And that's why they're my favorite, because they're so... It's the stereotypical monster, but its goal is so unstereotypical that I love it. It's so crazy.
Oh, that's a good D&D monster.
And that's like, because that's why I've been going down the rabbit hole of watching D&D monster manual crap, because every single I talked about it last time we talked about, but every monster is the lamest thing, but it has the coolest little bit of lore to it. And I was like, oh, I get why nerds love it, because it's so in depth, but because it's been going on for so long, you've had that people add a little bit of Cajun spice in there for like 30 years, so now you're getting the nut stuff, where the stupid frog demons are the stupid frog. There's like these frog guys. They're the ultimate embodiments of chaos, and they're like frogmens. And you're like, well, what's the deal with the frogmens? But the frogmens, because they're the embodiment of chaos, hate existing and are desperately trying to not exist in a stable form, so that the frogmen's what?
So they're Mr. Meat.
Well, it's being in one stable form is, again, it's not that they want to die, it's just that being as a singular creature that isn't like constantly shifting and changing is a nightmare to them. So their entire goal is to become like a chaotic energy. They want to be just random chaotic energy. So their lord or whatever, who's just a skeleton version of one of them, is the worst, hates his entire existence because he got too strong. If you get too strong, then your form is stabilized. But that's not chaos. So every living, waking moment is a nightmare. And the stupid thing hates it. It hates itself. Also, it's living in reverse, because that's stupid. It's Merlining it hard. Because when people try to go back in time to try to kill it, what they're actually discovering is that it's stronger than ever. Because it's like, no, that's where I'm the toughest. Oh.
That doesn't sound like Merlin. That just sounds like regular Kevin.
Well, it's dumb. I love it. I love how the Mind Flayers apparently are... They're actually time travelers, because their race was established at the end of time, and they had conquered all of time, but they conquered it right at the end of it, so they couldn't do anything with their entire... because they knew time was ending, so they went back in time to try to do it earlier. So they're just... And I'm like, that's great. I love it.
I've started to fall down this rabbit hole of a channel called Crime Pays, but Botany Doesn't. I posted one video onto Twitter, but the entire channel is just one guy who, and this is what makes it. The premise of the channel is what makes it.
Mm-hmm.
He is speaking with what you associate with a West Coast Latino accent.
Yeah.
Complete with swears. It sounds very like stereotypically inner city if you're being prejudiced.
All right, I get you.
But also that's just what it sounds like.
All right.
But he's just a straight up botanist who's telling you guerrilla gardening, which he doesn't like that term. And also, he spits out the scientific name of all the flora he encountered.
So it's the idea of it's the idea of what I would encounter the good old boy theoretical physicist, where
Yes.
it's like this redneck. It'd be like the equivalent of a rednecky dude talking about theoretical physics, but he's using kind of rednecky slang, but it's all scientifically accurate.
Yes, that is 100% what this channel is.
That's pretty good.
Except botany. Yeah.
It's like, yo, man, we got ourselves here. We got ourselves a Flora del whatever, genus blah. It's pretty good. Grows great. It's like, okay.
And he'll smack talk the city's efforts too, where he'll complain, look at all the trees they put in here, but they're all East Coast deciduous thing. They can't deal with the dry, hot summers of the West Coast, but now they're all dead.
He's not wrong. That makes That's you got to get your You need not a conifer, but you need some other. I don't know.
He's putting conifers out there.
All right.
More shrubby trees than trees.
Yeah, you don't want an oak tree in Oakland. That's not going to work. I don't know. It might work. Oakland's kind of. It's more like LA.
It's called Oakland for a reason.
Yeah. Because Oakland's like moderate all year. I'm thinking of LA. Even though I know that around like the San Francisco area is more balmy all year round, and LA is like hot all year round, or LA is the hot one. My brain thinks that they're all the same.
LA, I think my understanding has come to be they have wet winters and dry summers.
Yeah. It's more it's truly a land of contrast. It's going there.
I forget. Sorry.
No, you go. I was just rambling.
I forget that we live in a rainforest.
Oh yeah, we do. It's not a traditional jungle, but it rains a lot.
Yeah. It's not a tropical rainforest; it's a temperate one, but still.
Oh yeah, you can tell. God, it was a college science class. It's probably the only thing that stuck with me from that class, which was the professor was saying people live around here, they complain where it rains all the time. And all I got to say to them is if you're in an area where you have a lot of trees where the leaves fall out in the winter, then that's going to rain a ton because that's where those trees live. If you have leaves falling, it's going to rain a ton. If you got a lot of pine trees, it ain't going to rain that much. And that's just, I was like, it's interesting. Science. What else was I going to talk about? I was thinking about Dracula's. I was thinking about the conundrum of tabletop role playing, mainly, where I
wanting to play it, but it's too much work.
It's too much work, and it's also the people that I don't want to go with random people because of it's similar to the nerd hedgehog's dilemma, where I like anime, but I don't like people that also like anime. That sort of deal. Where it's like I like Dungeons and Dragons, but I don't want to play with a group of people that like Dungeons and Dragons because they're probably not into it the same way I'm into it. They're more into it as being a video game where they got to min-max their characters and do it. It's like, no, I just want to talk to the night hag and buy a soul. That's all I want to do. That's what I want to...
You realize you could just see if Cody and Nolan want to start establishing night a week. That could be...
Like role-play night?
My problem... Just do Anomaly or something else.
Yeah, but also I don't want to set it up. That's
why Anomaly is so good.
Yeah, oh god, I hate setting things up. Hate it.
Okay, so let me ask you this. I'm glad you said that. I
Yeah.
have never considered this to be my role in society. But being down here, I am one of the people who has to organize get-togethers
Oh yeah.
amongst my classmates.
No, yeah, that's you. I'm not like that at all. I will never. My personality type is I would say sedentary. Is that the correct word? Not in
Yeah.
terms of
Bunch
I
of
just
Myers-Briggs.
I think I'm INTJ. I'm one of those.
Yeah.
I never like. Okay, so I don't like the Myers-Briggs personality test. I don't like it because I feel it's limiting. Also, I feel it's positive. I want a negative version.
Well, that's called astrology. Astrology will give you, here's the good things about your sign, and here's the idiot.
See, that's better. I want the D&D alignments. I think that's better. I think that's a better analysis. I think that's
No, Kevin, I think I'll tell you what you want. Here's what personality test you want.
I know where you're going, so
Inuyasha
go
character
there.
are you?
I know exactly
What
who you're.
Inuyasha character are you?
Oh, you're gonna say. Oh, I thought you were gonna say what's your nin type, and then I was gonna be way down with it.
No, what Inuyasha character are you?
That's okay. That's a good. See, that would be better than the Myers-Briggs one. If everyone had to put on there, yeah, I'm a Shishomaru. You're like,
Oh,
oh,
please, you're a Koga.
I don't want to be a Koga.
Should have thought it up.
I don't like that. Oh,
See, there you go. It's negative.
yeah, that is negative. That is good. I'm looking up nin personality types. Do we ever talk? What?
Enhancers are straightforward. Transmuters are deceitful.
Yeah.
That's the only.
All right, I'm
That's
looking.
Gon and Kahlua and Hisoka. Manipulators are something.
All right, I'm pulling it up. So conjurers are high-strung and methodical.
Yeah,
Emitters.
that's Kurapika.
Oh yeah, that's Kirby. Emitters are impatient and not detail-oriented.
That's not really Leario.
And these are just
He's
general.
impatient.
He is
Yeah,
impatient.
it's also like Hisoka says, just like any other personality test, it's not accurate at all.
Yeah. Enhancers are impulsive, less thinkers, stupid but determined, and rarely hide anything. Manipulators are logical and do things at their own pace. Transmuters are whimsical liars. That's fucking
Yeah.
Hisoka trying to make himself sound cool.
Well, it's also Kahlua.
Yeah. And specialists are independent and charismatic. Also, you're not a specialist. If you think you are, you're not. You're
Yeah.
it's a specialist. You're just kind of you know. If you don't even need to think about if you're a specialist. You just are. I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. What would I?
But I bring this up because it's also, I have also organized, all of my classes are now online,
Yeah.
and those are the worst. So I set out to figure out who was also in my classes so I could have actual people surrounding me for class session. And it sounds like that is a point of, I'm gonna say contention, but that's too strong a word. But it sounds like some teachers are almost bragging about having actual class session people meet.
So they're excited because the kids go to
Basically comes down to, and it basically comes down to, is Drew in your class or not? Because that is what I've found to be a deciding factor of if there's a meetup or not.
Yeah, you gotta. Yeah, that's your personality type. You're way more into that. I just like to hide in my cave and not do anything and be miserable. That's great. I love it. Love it.
And it sounds like you're not a Nin user, Kevin.
I wouldn't be a Nin user. Oh, that'd be terrible. Like,
your Nin user is the guy who got killed by the ant.
I wouldn't even be that. I'd be just turned into an.
I don't mean the arrow guy. I mean one of the like general grunts.
Oh yeah, like I'd look like a bug man, and I'd have no powers. And then I would be the ant where when all the ants start to gain their humans parts, I'd be kind of bummed out because being an ant was easy. I didn't have to think that much. It was just go here. Now I'm lazy. I'd be the lazy ant.
Easy living.
I wouldn't be like Gyro, who was just immediately self-realized as soon as he got turned into an ant and just walked away.
That's so... I don't think they're ever gonna get to that plot.
No, he's never not going. He's not going to. It doesn't matter.
Unless he's on the Dark Continent, we're never getting a Gyro.
No,
we might not even get to the Dark Continent.
I've accepted in my mind that Hunter x Hunter will not finish, and it will probably never finish, and that's okay, because I don't want Togashi to die for Hunter x Hunter. That's fine. You're good. But just, I was thinking, that may be my favorite episode of Hunter x Hunter, where they just talk about the origin of Gyro. Because it's so menacing and dark and threatening about what this person is, and you just never see it. That's why it's disappointing, but just that episode is so radical.
A lot, if you like that flavor, you're gonna like whenever you finally read the fourth print and everything that's going on with him. It's art.
Yeah, like I should probably just buckle down and catch up now, because we talk about complaint. I'm like, you know what, Hunter x Hunter, I'll find the scans. I'll find them. I'll find the new chapters. That one I'll have to do. It's time. I need to, because I've been hankering for some Hunter x Hunter, and where last I left off, I think the last I left off was when they gave one of the princes a nin test, the one that they shouldn't have, and his glass just turned like rancid. Like, is that what happened? Where
yeah, that's him.
Yeah, where they like.
And we now know what his nin ability.
Yeah, because I remember they're like, don't tell this guy about nin, and then at some point in there he's like, yo, what's this nin thing? And they're like, ah, crap. And then they give him the test, and he does the thing, and it just turned into like a rancid tar bog. And he's like, oh, what does that mean? They're like, oh no. Yo, the nin.
Yeah, but like I say, we now know what his nin ability.
Oh, I need to find out. I need to read and find out. I need to know what's going on that boat.
And Hisoka still hasn't turned up on the boat.
Is he on the boat?
He's on the boat, but he hasn't turned up yet.
Oh, that's incredible. Are the spiders on the boat?
The spiders are also on the boat.
Okay, that makes sense. Oh, there's a lot of cool stuff on that boat.
Yeah,
there's even a tiny boat inside the boat.
There's just a super yacht on the top of the boat for the wealthy elite.
Yeah, they get a double boat. Oh, man. Hunter x Hunter's great. Just great.
Yes, it is.
I think it's Hunter x Hunter is a ruiner show. It's hard for me to get excited for a Shonen Jump thing because I know it's not Hunter x Hunter.
I will tell you, Chainsaw Man delivers.
Yeah. You know, I'm gonna make a note. I'm gonna look at Chainsaw Man, and I'll look at the new chapters of Hunter x Hunter. Cause I think
Good.
I should check out Chainsaw Man. I think what you said. Did you tell me that it's more emotional than you'd think?
It is, yeah.
And that's why it's good because it's stupid premise, but it's emotional, and you're like, oh, there's character growth here, which is what I like. I like stupid premise or stupid characters that evolve and change over time. That's why I love Zatch Bell. 'Cause that's the trick. That's the only trick that show has, is here's this stupid thing. Now watch as it becomes a real character. And you're like, oh man, I love it. Yeah, I'm running out of things to talk about. Let's talk about Zatch Bell. How I feel.
Well, see, you said Zatch Bell, and it made me think Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah.
Germany's Santa Claus has come to Japan, and he has made a deal with the Doll Devil.
Oh.
So whenever he touches someone, you know that fight between Hisoka and
Yes.
Chrollo?
Yeah. Oh my rubber nin.
Yeah.
Resurrect me.
He can do the doll thing to people.
Oh. He has those hands. He has those magic hands. Okay, that's a problem.
And he just touches them, and then they turn they get the puppet lines, and their eyes become like doll eyes. And then if they touch someone, it spreads.
Okay,
and they just obey him.
That's pretty strong. Yeah, I'll check that out. I think. All right, so that's where we're gonna end it. Is check out Chainsaw Man, Hunter x Hunter, the Utena movie. I'm sure Castlevania's good. There's no reason why it wouldn't be.
Watch it.
Play a flute or play, what was the instrument you said?
Viola.
Viola is the hidden top tier of orchestra if you're going in there. And that's it. Later days.
Later days.